you're not going to change. So in order for you to grow, you got to get out of your environment that doesn't test you. You got to get yourself in environments that do test you so that you can actually be better. So today I want to do a different podcast episode because I want to tell you and show you where I'm from and what I've learned from the small town of Canberra and taking you all the way to California, and just like what the biggest contrast is between the two. Because I think a lot of the time people see my life in California and they just think that it's just it's been easy. It's been like a convenient trip, but I can assure you that it's not. So this week in particular, now that I'm in Canberra, I'm only here for a few days, but I want to show you a little bit of, my life and what it's been like, but also kind of help you understand how you can take your mindset, which mine was very small-minded, very short, just like anyone else out there, and how I transitioned that to be growth mindset. I find a lot of people here are very fixed. They're fixed on what they've got right in front of them. They're on the comfort pillows. They're sitting in a place where, honestly, everything is just easy. It's convenient. You're even seeing me now. It's convenient. It's easy for me to get wherever I want to go and do what I want to do. It's not that same way in America. It's not the same way in California. I can assure you that the pace of life is different. The way of thinking is different. Everything is different. So I want to spend time today just helping you understand the value of when you put yourself in an environment, in a position where you're tested, where you're challenged, where you're actually doing things differently, that you can gain so much just by putting yourself out there. And so I'm going to start with, giving you a bit of a background first of where I'm from and I guess what I used to even do over here, because, my life is so different. And when I come here, I always think to myself, gosh, it's just like, it's kind of like the same. It doesn't change too much, but there's obviously some things that shift around, but in reality, it's all the same. And so where I'm from the south of Canberra, which basically means that there's only really the north and the south. There's not really much else. And I went to school. I went to primary school, high school, then I went to college, and then I went to university over here. And all the while I was here, I was obviously playing soccer. I spent so much of my time and so much of my life playing soccer. So my day started off really early, usually at around 4:30 in the morning. I would, go and train some people. I was a personal trainer. I would then go to university. I would then go to soccer. I'd go back to work, and I would do the best that I could. But I was always the person that was doing a lot. And here, it's not like that. A lot of the time people are, probably working in corporate, which is fine, right? A lot of them have like that very steady lifestyle. Anyone that you ask here, most of them will tell you that they work in corporate. They work for the government. And so when you're in that rat race, you're constantly just like waking up and repeating your exact same patterns. And if you're repeating the same patterns, then guess what you're doing? You're strengthening those patterns. If you want to strengthen the patterns, keep doing the same shit. If you want to change the patterns, you got to put yourself in an uncomfortable environment, which is exactly what I did. I at least had the opportunity to go over to the States, and I played soccer there and I loved it. And I thought, this is crazy. Like, there's something for everything. And here, it's not like that. So I quickly understood that there was a bigger world out there. When I was here, my mindset was small. Everything about being from a small town is small. We're talking about there's small talk, there's small ambitions, there's small desires, there's small goals, there's small groups. Everything is just small. And so if you are from somewhere that's small, you will find yourself in that exact same pattern. I lived in it for so damn long, and I didn't realize the value of changing it until I recognized that I was in it, and I put myself in a very challenging position in a very, very hard environment. Then I realized really what it was all about. So we're going to take a little bit of a road trip here. I'm going to take you to a couple of places, and I'm going to share some of the things that I've learned that hopefully you can learn and not make the same mistakes that I did. So one of my favorite places to come to was the foreshore, mostly because of the water. And, I'm like one of those people that really value the environment. I love the sun. I love water. And in a tiny town like this, all you got is lakes, right? There's not really much else to rely on. So if you want to kind of get out there and you want to feel good and all that kind of stuff, you have to go and look for it. Whereas in California, it's kind of everywhere, which is one thing that I love about California. One thing I love about America is that whatever you want, you can have access to it. So that's always been a really important factor. Now, if you're someone that's like watching this on Spotify, YouTube, you're going to see that it looks amazing. And I'm going to tell you that even being in Canberra, it is an amazing place because it does offer a lot of security. It offers a lot of support. It offers a lot to a lot of people. For me, though, it didn't offer me what I truly wanted, which was fulfillment, right? And I think that when you want to really, really amplify yourself, if you really want to like change your life, you're going to have to leave your environment that feels safe, that feels secure, that feels so right for you, right? So I found that when I left Canberra, I was really uncomfortable. I had a lot of anxiety. I had panic attacks. Mostly because I was in environments that I had no idea how to even like control myself. Everything was just like constantly testing. And when you're in a place like this, there's just a lot of predictability. It almost becomes a little bit easy. When you're in environments where you have no idea what's going to happen, there's a lot of uncertainty, then you're tested. Most people don't do very well with uncertainty. Over here, there's a lot of certainty. So I found that the more that I put myself around people I didn't know, places I haven't been, environments that really tested me, the more I grew. And that's what you need to learn. You need to understand that if you want to grow, if you want to become a better version of yourself, stop playing small. Stop staying in the same damn environment around the same people, talking about the same shit, because you're never going to change anything. You have to be willing to shift. You got to shift out of the comforts. The comforts are usually what's killing everybody. And I say that because it's so easy to stay there, right? We always get so comfortable staying in the exact same spot because we know that as soon as we are to shift out of that, we're going to be tested and our character may not be built enough for you to actually overcome the test. So that's the next thing that you got to learn is the character. And I'm going to tell you a bit more about that right now. I always say this, character is revealed when pressure is applied. When you are in places that don't test your character, then guess what? You're never really going to know who you are or what you're all about. If you want to actually expand yourself, grow yourself, you have to know where your weaknesses lie. Your weaknesses will never come out in environments that don't test you. So when I found that I came from this environment where I wasn't really tested, people weren't really kind of testing me. My environment wasn't kind of like confronting me. But what I did find is that as soon as I moved, I was confronted. I had to learn a little more resilience. I had to learn discipline. I had to learn consistency. I had to learn how to understand myself. Awareness was absolutely critical for what I actually needed to do. And the same thing goes for you. If you don't have discipline, consistency, resilience, and you have no awareness, you're probably going to stay small. You're not going to change. So in order for you to grow, you got to get out of your environment that doesn't test you. You got to get yourself in environments that do test you so that you can actually be better. Because your character is everything. It truly is. It's absolutely everything. It's the most important factor because that's really what makes you you. Your character is everything. So if you're someone that's like, oh, I don't like confrontation. I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to go there. I don't want to talk to that person. You're the type of person that just honestly won't face the truths. Truths are absolutely critical. And the truth also reveals exactly what you are capable of. So yes, you might see that I spit a lot of truths out there. I don't like a bullshit approach. I really don't. But I can tell you right now, I had to grow in that. That wasn't something that just happened overnight. That was something that I established over the course of time. I was a little bit more straightforward, I will say that, but I wasn't to this degree. And so if you're someone that's like, I want to be a little more honest, I want to actually start, showing up a bit differently, then it starts today, right? It starts with you today, with this first conversation, with this first thing. You being honest with you is the first place that you got to go. From there, you can actually grow into it. So I found that when I was in a lot of comfortable positions, people weren't being honest with me. I wasn't being honest with people. I can tell you right now, it's so much easier not to be. It's so much easier to be nice, right? And no one likes the nice guy. Nice is not a compliment. Nice is not what you want to be. Nice is the loser that's basically just following the crowd and being a sheep. If you want to be the best person, you're going to be the person that's honest. You're going to be the person that will reveal themselves. They're willing to take ownership. They're willing to take responsibility. There's nothing nice about that. It's honestly kind of harsh. But the more harsh you are with yourself, the more honest you will be with the world, and then you'll be able to actually make more impact. So I wanted to make an impact. I couldn't make an impact being nice, and you can't make an impact either being nice. So if you want to go out there and you want to change yourself, then put yourself in environments that test you, that grow you, that make you face yourself. And you may not like what you see at the start, but I can tell you over the course of time, you will. Over the course of time, you'll actually love the person you've grown into, the process that you've been under, the journey that you've taken. And you will always look back at who you used to be, and you're going to let that go. And this is exactly what I did, right? I did it over the course of a lot of time. I've now been in California. This is my 9th year in California. And I can tell you right now, the first 2 years was me getting to know who I am, where I've come from, what I want to be, who I'm all about, like every single thing. That's a whole 2 years of just doing personal development before I even dived into other areas of personal development. But this was like the foundation. And when you have a foundation set, you know what's cool about that? You can always go back. It's like that becomes your new support. Your support is the foundation that you've laid down for you. And so as I kind of take you through a little bit of the places that I used to be from, you're going to see how I actually had a lot of resilience in me from the start, but I didn't really know how to access it. Just like you probably have some parts of you that are actually pre-built, but you don't know how to access it. There's probably a lot of truth in you. There's probably a lot of discipline in you. There's probably a lot of areas of you that you haven't actually tapped into because you've been hiding them. So as we go on this next part, you're going to understand how to tap into those areas that you keep hiding. You know, there's a lot of different areas of your childhood or things that you've kind of like come to understand that you have in you that you don't tap into. So I spent most of my time right here. Most of my time was spent developing discipline, developing resilience, developing mental fortitude, developing all these things that I didn't really know I needed to tap into until after the fact. Isn't that crazy? Like we actually have like so much of us that we could tap into at any point, but we're not aware of it. We don't realize that we actually truly need it until we're kind of at that point. We're like, okay, we need to like start actually utilizing what we have been working on. And it comes down to, you know, I guess game day. Let's call it like that. Game day is the day where every single thing that you're working towards comes to you, and that's where you've got to put everything you've practiced to the test. So I was always very, very punctual when it came to training days, training fields, training times, whatever it was. I was punctual, which meant that I was always before the time like they suggested. If they wanted us here at 5, I was here at 4:45. I was always early. I didn't realize now how good I am at punctuality because of all of the times that I showed up early. I didn't realize that. When it comes to criticism and feedback, I took it, guys. Like I took it. And I didn't realize now how much that really plays a role in my everyday life. Like I love criticism and I love feedback because it makes me look harder at myself and realize that maybe I could do things a little better. So what you're experiencing today, what you have experienced in the past, you know, game day is going to come and you need to tap into those versions of you, those parts that you have been trying to progress towards, and you've got to actually do something with it. And I can tell you right now, what you're doing today, the future version of you is actually going to utilize. It's not going to be in this moment. This is kind of like a trial. It's kind of like a training. Everything that you're developing today is actually making you better for tomorrow. But you don't think of it like that because you want instant gratification, right? Isn't that the next thing? Everyone wants instant gratification. They don't realize that instant gratification is just kind of like stupid and pointless and will never get you into a good spot. So look at what you have developed in the past that maybe you're utilizing today that you didn't realize, that you don't even really recognize. And it could be that you have that little bit of that dedication because you were dedicated to something as a child that maybe you just lost sight of, or you were super consistent with a hobby, or you were really, really loyal to people in your life, but you didn't realize how incredibly powerful and, important that was until now. So whatever it is that you can kind of like reflect on, go and reflect on it and go, I didn't realize that's actually in me. I didn't realize that I actually have so much of myself that has these specific characteristics that I've been hiding. I literally have not tapped into those. That's what you need to do more of. That's what you have to actually like start tapping into and getting really familiar with, because then you realize that they are a strength of yours. When you realize that they're a strength of yours, not a weakness, you can then go, here's the areas that are part of my character that I've been ignoring, that I want to bring back to life. And then here are the areas that I want to become that I haven't actually had a chance to develop yet. Once you have that, you're going to become a better version of you, because I know that it helped me. Now, weaknesses are extremely important. That's the one thing that I want to share with you that honestly changed my life. And that is going to be the next portion. I think the biggest thing that I wanted to share with you guys is mental health and how I overcame it myself. So at this point, you've seen a lot about, I've been talking about, small minds, small environments, what that means for you. You can learn how to tap into some parts of you that maybe you've kept hidden. But here's the thing that honestly I think is a maker or a breaker of you and also your future. It's all about mental health. Everyone talks about it, but I can tell you right now, the conversation in Australia in particular, it just sucks, right? Like they are not real about it. They're not real about what it truly means to not have a good mental health. And when we're talking about this, what we're talking about is just like, the true chemical imbalance that's going on for people. People are very much like in a place where they don't feel like they can share where they're at mentally, emotionally, spiritually, but they will share the physicality, right? Like anyone can look fit, anyone can also look unfit. It doesn't matter, because it is all about your mental health. And for me, I can tell you right now, I suffered hard. I had my sport, I had my job, I had friends, I had it, right? But what I didn't have is I didn't have, that fulfillment. And that's ultimately what is missing for so many people. And I share that because I want to help you understand what it truly means. So for me, it was really about helping me understand who I was at my absolute core, and understanding that I didn't need external validation. I didn't need justification for me to be who I wanted to be. And that might be something that you need to understand for yourself. And you've got to look really hard. Like you got to take a deep dive into yourself, have a look at yourself in the mirror and understand who you are matters, and who you want to be also matters. So for me, I really suffered a lot. I had a really hard time feeling like, my mental health wasn't in a good spot because I didn't love who I was. I didn't love who I had been. I didn't love who I was currently. And I had ambition to be more, but I didn't truly know what that even meant. And I found myself like immersed into my relationships, into my sport, into my job. I found my identity in everything external. And when you do that, you are basically like, you're not fully attached or aligned to who you are at your core. You're only attached to anything that is outside of you. And that's the problem that most people face. So to truly find fulfillment, you really have to tap into you. Like, who do you want to be? What does that look like? Everything about you is the most critical component. So when people are out there and they're shouting out the world of, mental health matters and are you okay and all this bullshit, let me tell you something. When it comes to mental health, most people don't feel good about it. And the people that are silent, they're the ones that are truly feeling it. If anyone is out there saying, I feel depressed today, I feel anxious today, oh my gosh, I have panic attacks, just overly like sharing like that, they don't truly have what it is that is making them feel that way. They're just utilizing it. They're throwing it out there like it's a trend or something. But I want you guys to understand that when I had it, right, when I was super depressed, when I had a high anxiety, when my panic attacks were so real, no one knew about it because I hid it from the world. Because in my mind, it's embarrassing. And it is. Like, if you think about it, you don't want people to know that you're depressed. You don't want people to know that you're anxious. And you definitely don't want people to see or experience a panic attack because it doesn't feel good. It definitely doesn't look good either. And so I share this with you because if you are someone that is struggling with your emotional capacity, as in you have a hard time just like feeling good about yourself, you have to change it. The only way that I changed it is I actually hit rock bottom. I waited till the enough is enough point, right? What most people do. If you wait till the enough is enough point, you'll be forced to look deeper into yourself and find out if you are actually worth it. If you don't, then you'll be on the rat race, you'll be spinning your wheels, you'll be doing the same shit over and over again. And now I wish I had someone that was in my life at the time that would force me to look at myself, but I didn't. I actually had people that were enabling my behavior because they were too scared to say something. And the biggest thing that you can do for someone, the best thing that you can do for someone is actually make them actually see themselves. Get them to understand how they are, what they're doing, what is going on for them. And sometimes, you have to be hard about it. Sometimes you have to hit them with the facts. Like, you're being a piece of shit, stop doing it, what's going on, let's get to the root cause of this and change it. Sometimes you have to do that. And there are also times where you're like, hey, what's going on for you? Share it. This is a safe space. Tell me about it. But if you're going to be like, hey, are you okay? Do you honestly think you're going to make a difference? Do you honestly think that you're going to change someone's life? You're not. I can tell you right now, no one did it for me. And that's honestly what the biggest game changer was. So when I learned about how to truly understand my mentality, I also learned how to actually improve my mental health. Guys, like I share this with everybody. I was suicidal 3 times, and the 3rd time I was in California. So it may have started here because I didn't realize how negative my life was, how negative I was, and my environment didn't help. And even when I went over there, my environment didn't help. I really had to understand that it had to start with me. Just like every single thing that you want starts with you. Everything you want is on the other side of fear. And I say that because everything you're scared of, all the work that you're avoiding, all of the magic that you're looking for, that's really where it's at. If you want to change you have to look at what you're not doing. If you want to change your life, you have to start doing things differently. You can't just keep going through the motions. The motions aren't going to get you the results. And I share that with you here because as I'm spending time here, I'm starting to understand, well, it made sense why I didn't feel good, right? There's so much justification in my day-to-day. There was so much external validation I was seeking and looking for that I wasn't getting. And to be honest with you, people are pretty damn judgmental here. Now, we live in a world full of judgment. And whether or not we should or shouldn't doesn't matter. It really becomes just the realities. Everyone judges. But here just seems a little high. And it seems like people want to portray this perfect image. They want to portray like this perfect way of being. But I can share with you that the perfect reality that you're trying to showcase to the world is the biggest bullshit and the biggest fantasy that's out there. Like, you just got to be real. You got to be you. You got to be everything that you want to be. And that might suck for some people. They might not like it. I have many people that honestly don't talk to me today because of what I'm doing right now. All of the content that I put out there. People hate me for it. And I don't give a fuck because at the end of the day, it's real for me. I'm authentic. I'm genuine. I want to share a message that can help people shift themselves from a shitty place to a good place. And you know what? Sometimes people aren't going to resonate with that. Just like what you're doing for yourself, some people are going to hate it. You might want to go to the gym a lot and people don't like that you're there all the time. You might want to eat well and they might think that you're just the healthy person on a diet all the time. You might want to actually go and develop yourself and your mentality and people might think you're weird. You know what? You got to just go and tell those people that you are on a journey and your journey matters because you care about what you're doing. And the rest of them, honestly, they can go get fucked. That's really the best thing that I can tell you. Because a lot of the time we live in a world where people are trying to please everybody. And who are you truly trying to please? What are you going to get out of it? Let's say you did please them for a hot second. Would you get anywhere? Would you land anywhere? Would you feel better about you? Probably not. And so I wanted to take you guys on this journey so that you could understand that your environment matters so much. Who you spend time with is so damn critical. Who your spouse is, your partner, whoever your partner in crime is, they are one of the most important people that you are going to choose because they're going to be giving you the most amount of input. And if they aren't inputting good shit into you, you got to reestablish something like that's maybe bigger for you. Maybe you need to take a hard look at your life and a hard look at who you've chosen and honestly ask you the question, was this worth it? The other thing is you got to listen to what people are saying around you, your friends, your family. Listen to what they're saying to you. Because if you don't like what they have to say, I can tell you right now, they're going to input the wrong shit and you're going to be affected by it. And the last thing is that if you're in an environment where everything has to be very like specific and perfect and the perception is just like unbelievably like this is how it is, maybe you're not in a real place. You know, like you see this right now with what I'm surrounded by, and it's so nice, right? And that's the problem. It's so nice. And nice gets you nowhere. I can tell you that much. And then I showed you guys how you have to tap into some areas of you that you had in the past, that you could utilize today, but stop hiding. Stop hiding the parts of you that you have previously built that people told you that you should probably shy away from. You know, I used to be very straightforward. People didn't like that I was straightforward. So I started to be a bit more silent. And then I understood that, you know what? They just didn't want me to be loud. They didn't want me to be me. And this is who I've always been. So understand that there are portions of you that you could tap into that can make your life better right now, this second, tomorrow, right? And the last thing is that when we're talking about mental health, please don't throw it around like it's just anything, right? Take it seriously. Like honestly, take it seriously and understand that your mental health truly just comes down to you. What you want your mindset to be, how you want to view yourself. You should be striving for fulfillment. No one can give you the fulfillment. No place out there can give you fulfillment. Only you can give yourself fulfillment. You have to love yourself. You have to be so about yourself, your journey, everything that you want for yourself. Everything aligns after that. You know, like the right people come into my life because I love who I am and I love what I'm about and I have my standards and I have my boundaries. And you can have the exact same for yourself as well. You just have to commit to your process, to your journey. Like, because let's be real, this is all you're going to get. The life you're living today, what you've got going on for yourself today, this is it. You know, I came from this tiny ass town, guys. And if I can change my life, if I can make something of myself, you can too. But you're never going to do it doing the same damn habits, staying around the same damn people with the same damn conversation. Nothing's going to change unless you change. So remember, everything you want is on the other side of fear. So make a move and take action because you're one decision away from a completely different life.